everyone, this is the Vampire Lucinda again, making another video looking at Dragonball Evolution and how it's just so far from the source material. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm guessing this will be a shorter one because concentrated on one aspect of the movie, and that is the concept of Oozaru. And I use heavy quotation marks for that because I'm not really sure what the director, scriptwriter, etc. were thinking when they came up with the concept of Oozaru. First of all, for those of us who've watched Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, we know that Oozaru basically means like great ape or big monkey. By repeatedly referencing Oozaru, they kind of give it away what he is at the end. I didn't know it was supposed to be a surprise, but yeah, a bit more on that later because he actually turned out to not be a big monkey, which is a big problem. It's not very clear what happened, but whether Oozaru was like defeated and then killed, or defeated and sealed away and then launched into space by these mystics. Because I mean, and then the story continues that somehow Goku is Oozaru, and a problem with that is that it seems like, I don't know if they're going the whole like sort of Naruto, the demon is inside of you route, or if Goku is like the reincarnation of Oozaru, or if, I mean, is he the original one? Is he a reincarnation of it? Did he get possessed by it as a baby? Is he even a Saiyan? I mean, all of these questions come up when watching Dragon Ball Evolution, and they're not really answered. I mean, if they are answered and someone watched the movie more closely than I did, please let me know, and I'll definitely acknowledge that. But I watched it as many times as I could, which was like twice, and I mean, there's really no explanation going on for Oozaru. Also, in okay, so we got, the backstory of Oozaru in Dragon Ball Evolution is really messed up. As we all know, for those of you who have seen Dragon Ball Z, and by the way, this isn't really explained in Dragon Ball, which is interesting because they could have gone with not explaining it. If they were planning on doing a series, the Dragon Ball Evolution team could have, just left Oozaru unexplained, sort of like Toriyama did in Dragon Ball, and then addressed it in Dragon Ball Z, whatever. But, for those who have seen Dragon Ball Z, it's clear that Oozaru form is a transformation that Saiyans undergo when they, and I'm not, yeah, is a transformation that Saiyans undergo when they look at the moon and their tails, I'm not going to exactly quote Vegeta's explanation, but basically the moon emits a certain type of light. I think it was blood waves. I may be confusing it with GT at the moment, but and that reacts with their tails and they undergo a transformation. So you essentially need the moon or some moon substitute and a tail, and that allows you to transform into a giant monkey. In Dragon Ball Evolution, Goku does not have a tail, which is a huge problem, and he transforms at the eclipse, so it's not as much transformation as it is like a mystical event. And but so Goku doesn't have a tail, and he ends up sorry. He transforms with the eclipse, which makes it seem more like a mystical event than a, traditional in quotation marks again, Dragon Ball Z, GT transformation. I mean, it's like every cliche you could ever imagine was thrown into this transformation. On his 18th birthday, at the eclipse, at the bidding apparently of King Piccolo, as soon as he put the Dragon Balls in the Dragon Temple, and that's another problem, Goku is able to quote-unquote become Oozaru. Again, for those who in Dragon Ball Z, there's nothing magical about the Oozaru transformation. If you're a Saiyan and you have a tail, you look at the moon, or a moon substitute, like what, Vegeta created, or Tullus in the movie. But you have that, you turn into a giant ape, and you're a giant ape until the moon goes away, or the substitute moon goes away, which may last for a while, or basically until someone cuts your tail off. I mean, in Dragon Ball Evolution, he just sort of randomly turns back after like mastering himself. And I mean, while I could go on a Karate Kid / lame movie, I actually like Karate Kid, but this is one of the biggest cliches. I mean, anyway, that'll be for another rant on Goku. But yeah, in Dragon Ball. Okay, so now on the form, Oozaru is a giant monkey. That's what the name means, basically. in Dragon Ball Evolution, he looked like a werewolf from like Underworld or something. I've seen that movie like 10 minutes of it, Underworld, with the vampires and the lichens or whatever, the werewolves. Terrible movie in my opinion. But anyway, um, he looks like that. He looks like the same CGI model. I mean, he can't be more than 7 feet tall. He's running around like a werewolf. He can't fire. I mean, the whole point of Oozaru in Dragon Ball Z, well, mainly in Dragon Ball Z though, and in GT 2 for a brief while, is to exhibit the destructive power of the Saiyans. It increases your power by tenfold basically. You know, however strong you are, when you become Oozaru, you multiply that by 10, you're insane. You can also do these like huge mouth lasers, and I mean, it's just a huge, and it's about, the size of King Kong, if not, probably bigger than King Kong. Oozaru form is. It's a huge destructive force, and yet in Dragon Ball Evolution, it's like a little werewolf, and it's hard to believe that this little werewolf was running around destroying the world. I mean, what King Piccolo doesn't seem that it seems more threatening than Oozaru in this case in Dragon Ball Evolution. And I mean, it's like if that was the best you could come up with, a little werewolf running around, why didn't you just make him into a giant monkey? Why didn't they just make him into a giant monkey? I mean, people talk a lot about source material, and I know the movie wasn't going to be exactly, to the letter of Dragon Ball, the manga or the anime, but Oozaru is a giant monkey. You can't. There's no way to get around that. And if you make him into a little werewolf, it's not that big a deal, honestly, because he ends up running around. He chokes Master Roshi for a little bit. Has a flashback to Grandpa Gohan about how you must have faith in who you are. There we go. And it's just ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's. I sat there and I was like, that's his grade 8 form. It's not that great, and it's not an 8. I mean, there are some things that you should just do, and Dragon Ball Evolution did not do any of them. If they did not want to, I mean, again, if they were going for the more realistic approach, they should not have done Dragon Ball. You have giant apes walking around, smashing entire buildings, blowing up things. The moon gets blown up to stop them at one point. I mean, Piccolo blows up the moon. Master Roshi blows up the moon to stop Oozaru. It's dangerous. And in Dragon Ball Evolution, it just wasn't that threatening. So yeah, they just really quote Oozaru, the demon from the stars that came with King Piccolo, wasn't that big of a deal. It seemed like the fact that they even kept out the tail makes me wonder what they were going for. I mean, again, if they were going for realism, should not have picked Dragon Ball, because one of the most identifying features of Goku when he was a child was his tail. I mean, you're like, Goku, the kid with the tail. So yeah, once again, Dragon Ball Evolution, very bad movie. Please don't buy the DVD when it comes out. We don't want to give any money to 20th Century Fox, and we don't want you to waste your money. I mean, I don't want to see people buying that movie. Number one, because it disgraces the Dragon Ball name, and number two, it's a total waste of money. You'll want to destroy the DVD if you haven't seen. Honestly, I mean, many a computer has almost been smashed because of this movie. I mean, you don't want to buy it. Watch it online for free. I'll see if I can get another link up. If you need it, just message me or whatever. The movie is not good, and it's really an insult. I mean, even something as easy to get as a giant monkey, they got wrong. A giant monkey who blasts things. No, they did 7-foot werewolf that runs around and is pretty much ineffective except for strong Master Roshi. I can't see how that thing wreaked havoc on Earth and warranted, the formation of the Dragon Balls, which is also another problem, because I don't see how Dragon Balls can stop something. The name Kami, I mean, this movie is so bad. So yeah, please don't buy the DVD when it comes out. In fact, let's all forget about Dragon Ball Evolution, let it go away. And I think I'm saving my biggest rant for last on Goku, because honestly, the way they portrayed Goku felt like someone was insulting a friend. I mean, I consider Goku the greatest character of any anime, cartoon, comic, manga, anything. Goku's one of the greatest heroes of all time. The greatest, I will say with confidence, in terms of, fictional characters. and they completely ruined him. Like I don't even know if I can review it without like smashing something. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I will be back with another. Bye.